Check these out. Got a set of big block Chevy heads. I've been sitting on for a while. They're big fuckers. They're 360cc intake runners. They're 2.50 tall, 1.78 wide, rectangle port intake runners, and they got a oval shaped exhaust. I've had these sitting around for a few years, but I'm rounding up the shit now to go ahead and put them together. And they're 360cc. They're pretty big. So I was hesitant to use them on anything less than 500 plus cubes. But really, if you think about it, like take your LS for example. What makes the LS good, really, when you cut right through the shit, it's the heads. And small cubic inch LS engines have big fucking heads in relation to the size of the engine. They have, especially like your rectangle port LS heads on 6 liters and 6.2s and shit. I think a good pair, they flow about 360 CFM. So then you got your old Cleveland Fords, and your Boss 302 had a fucking, call them a 4V head, but it was a 2-valve head, but 4-barrel head. Them fuckers, they float about 275 CFM stock at a 219 172 exhaust valve in them. They used them on 302s and 351s, and they run real fucking good. Matter of fact, the most powerful production muscle car era small block ever made was a Boss 351 Cleveland Ford. They made more power than anybody else. It's been proven. I'm gonna run these. I ain't completely made up my mind yet. I'm looking at a 4.375 stroke crank. And then I got a block that's fucking, most people would consider used up. It's already 60 over, come out of a boat. It's got a boogered fucking cylinder in it. So thinking about just taking that sumbitch out, 125 over, build a 526 cubic inch. Use this big pair of heads here. These fucking heads they're not real common. There's a couple of companies that sell them. I picked these up years ago from Competition Products. They called them Power Products or some shit. I don't remember the name they had for them, but they're the same head as Flotek They sell a 360cc runner head, and it's the same head. And then I think Liberty cylinder heads, soda version. There may be others, I don't know. This head here is a 2018. It is July 16th, 2018. That's when these particular castings were cast. They come with a 2.88 intake valve, 11/32 valve stem diameter, 225 intake valve. The intake valve be .250, be a 1/4 inch long, .250 longer than stock. And then the exhaust valve I'm using is .100 long from stock. But the springs and shit I'm using in these heads, I got some Ferrea valves and shit for them already. There's the springs I'm gonna use. And there's the fucking locators. Pretty nice shit. But these springs, they're 1.56 diameter, dual, and at 2-inch installed they'll be 245 pounds. 720 net. After lash they'll be 600 pounds at 1.280. Coil bind at 1.180. So I'm actually running a 531 lift solid roller cam. It'll have about 20 thousandths lash, so be about 711. It's 731 lift cam, so minus 20. But it'll be pretty healthy. And then they're 122cc chambers. I'm going to take about 18 thousandths off of them, get them to 119, and zero deck the block and shit, and run a .039 quench. Tighten that shit up. It'll be over 14-to-1 compression. Make some fucking power. These heads here, fucking do a little bowl blending and put good flowing valves in them. Good valves in them. And you'd be 400 CFM pretty fucking easy with these heads. They're 360cc intake runners. So we got plenty of fucking room in there to work with. These heads here are something to think about. I got the intake stud is fucking deep. So if you run, them are standard big block Chevy ARP studs there. on the exhaust side, or on the intake side. On the exhaust side, you want to run, they make these ARP studs that the bottom part of the fucking thread's like an inch long, and it gets all the way down into the meat of that head. But I've heard of people running just regular length stock replacement like ARP studs, and they break this motherfucker off. Blame it on China, but these are made to run them longer fucking studs. I ain't got them yet, so I've had these some bitches just tucked away for years, and I got numerous other sets of heads, but I'm gonna put these together here soon. They'll take a hell of a fucking valve spring. I don't know what the fuck these heads are based on originally. They're a knockoff of something. Look kind of like a 90s Brodix head, or maybe an old Pro top line from the 90s. It's hard to say. But they're D-port exhaust. These things flow pretty damn good as is, but everything can be better. I ain't gonna go hog fucking wild on them. I'm just gonna, there's very little fucking action down in there needed. Fucking smooth that shit out in about an hour. And them fucking ports are plenty big. They'll support some power. 360cc. Tell you what you got there. The fucking exhaust runners are raised on them. I can't remember, it's been so long. So I got these fuckers about 6-7 years ago. I don't know. It's 2018, 2019. But, you gotta have longer, 4 longer studs. Here, 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 and here. The rest use conventional length. I think my exhaust ports are about 140cc as is. Yeah, just stuck these on the shelf and kind of fucking forgot about them. But the only company I can think of off the top of my head that sells them now is Flotek. They're reasonable. They ain't giving them away, but they are reasonable. You get a pretty decent pair of heads from them. And of course, they're imports, but they're machined in America in a nice fucking machine shop. So I bought these. They were assembled, but they were set up for a hydraulic roller. So had like a 190 installed height. So I fucking took everything out and bagged it up and replaced every single part of them. You need at least 2-inch installed height with the setup I'm going with. Got my old school Maroso valve covers. Them are authentic old shit. straight out of the early 80s. I've been doing a whole lot lately. It's been so fucking cold. Winter fucking came overnight. Usually does. So I've been dicking around in here, trying to make more space. Fucking run out of space everywhere. And here's a few of my model cars. I still have model cars I built when I was a youngster. Still got a fucking shitload of them. Parts. Always liked old Chevys. There's a Firebird I built. Oh, that was a copy of a real car I had that I totaled. A few 69 Firebirds there. There's a 70. That was a Smokey and the Bandit Trans Am on the box, but I made it a tubbed out drag car. All these are custom, one of the kinds. Built out of parts boxes and shit. Some of them I started on 20 years ago and still ain't fucking finished them. I was in a hospital. I was about 5 years old and I was pretty fucked up, about half dead. So I was laid up in the hospital. My dad brought me a 57 Chevy 125th scale AMT model kit, and some paint and glue and shit. He brought me a model car. I was 5 years old. I didn't know shit about building them. This one's totally custom. Got a big blown, big block in it out of a pulling truck. Tubbed it out and shit. But the old man bought me that model kit and had just brush paints. So I fucking did the best I could, but I got hooked. I thoroughly enjoyed building them, so I kept building them. So I was about 5 years old, and now 50 fucking years later, I still fuck with these things occasionally. Like this one, I started on this probably 10 or 15 years ago. And it's not finished. Matter of fact, my first model kit I bought it as I got older and built it years later, but a better version than what I did when I was 5 years old. But this was what I visualized. I built this probably 25 years ago. It was stock on the box. I've always been a Tri-5 Chevy fan. Had a 57 Chevy for a short time. But it was too original and nice to do what I wanted to do with it, so I ended up selling it. I got a bunch of them, then I got fucking hundreds of them unbuilt. All these boxes are full of parts. I got them fucking tucked away everywhere. Got model cars I still built when I was a kid. Got an autographed Big Daddy Don Garrett's Poster there. I met him twice. And more. And most of these are built when I was a kid and when I was a fucking teenager. Some of them are shitty because I might have been like 6 or 7 years old when I built them. And I just fucking left them like they were. Like this one. Hell, I was probably 7, 8 years old when I put that fucker together. Old big rigs and shit were always cool. Studebakers. Always like 40 Fords, 39 Chevys, 40 Fords, Model A's and shit. Like 60s type drag cars. Old Plymouth Gasser. Got a Gremlin funny car there. They're all fucking dusty as hell. But I moved about 5 years ago. It's about almost 10 years ago my fucking house about burnt to the ground. After that, got the fucking fire put out and all my shit went into storage. And a lot of it's still in boxes and ain't never came out. I damn near lost every fucking thing. These 55 Chevys are all the same. The Bad Man monogram. I just built them different. Built that one as a vintage oval track racer. Some American Graffiti 55 Chevys. There's a Bad Man. A Nomad. 57 Chevy Gasser. Another 57 Chevy Gasser. More Tri-5s. Mostly 57s. Shit's the way I learned how to build a lot of fucking cars. I learned a lot about parts. I build mostly GM cars, but there's a lot of non-GM cars I like old Mavericks, for example. I love an old fucking Maverick. Things are too cool. One of these days I'm gonna find me a suitable core to build me one. Might have to put a GM engine in it, but I doubt though. I'd probably go with the 351 Cleveland or something. Be the proper thing to do. Stuck in the fucking house a lot lately. Got more. All these fucking boxes are full of parts. Half-finished model cars. Some of them got like 3 or 4 model cars in each box. Got fucking more. Got a big car hauler down there with another big rig. A couple old Boot Hill Expresses. I collect old die cast and 148 scales also. Big fucking Super Victor intake for a 455 Oldsmobile that I'm slowly collecting parts for. It's gonna be my baddest Oldsmobile I ever fucking built. I got this shelf here. It's Old funny cars. Old gassers. Old dragsters. There's a Dragula from the fucking Monsters. More old 60s dragsters and shit. Have an old Fiat there. I always thought them were cool as hell. Got your tea bucket. Another tea bucket. More old street rods and shit. Old school. You got your Opel GT V8 conversion. And got a Henry J gasser. Got another Henry J. That's another one there. The decals ain't the fucking best, but I'll probably put them decals on there when I was 9 or 10 years old. 8 or 9 years old. I did redo the chassis and shit as I was older, but I left the old paint job and shit I put on it as a kid. Just figured it would just leave it there. Got a Tucker. There's a 496 I used to drive every day. And that's my best buddy that had a wreck, hit a bridge, and he's no longer with us. But that was his favorite hat. I held on to it. Good old boy, he was a gearhead, he was a big die-hard Pontiac buff. He liked old GTOs and shit. I gotta get some of these fucking short blocks together. I got thousands of Hot Wheels cars too, tucked away in cases. Crates full of them everywhere. Got all my shit from when the house caught on fire. A lot of the shit I never unpacked. But I used to have it all. I had a big hobby room where everything was on display and you could see it all. Fucking had a roof put on my house and had a fireplace in my house, and these dipshits didn't put the fucking metal back up right where the fireplace went through the roof. As soon as I went to light a fire, next thing I know, my fucking roof's on fire. So that was a bad day. These are pretty hefty fucking heads. Pretty fucking hefty. I wouldn't recommend them for a 396 or nothing. Pretty nice shaped chambers and shit. So just a minor bowl blend and you're in business. But I'm gonna take about 18 thousandths off the decks. Get it flat and get it CC'd down a little bit. But them are 360cc Flotek big block Chevy heads. Use them on a smaller cube engine, but you're gonna have to turn it high RPMs. There it is.